Why two torches? Why two torches?
Why not one like Demeter? What she has two. Persephone is often featured, like on the vase that I have, with two
Mhm.
as well.
The first thing that comes to mind when I think about that, I think like, what if, if I were in a situation where someone needed help,
Mm.
let's call it a flashlight, and I were venturing out into the darkness. Like I would take a flashlight for me and maybe like a flashlight for the other person.
Mhm.
So I feel like there is an element of like passing the torch on.
Hello, and welcome to the Keeping Your Keys podcast. Here's to another season. I'll be posting episodes as they come to me and as I have the capability to do them. I'm running the coven as always with Kristen, working on my next book, doing all the things, living in Astor Cottage. I love the podcast. I love podcasts. So I wanted to keep doing it. Today, I'm going to share a recent conversation that Kristen and I had about Hecate's torches. As we are going into the autumn season, Hecate's presence is often amplified. Everyone loves Hecate during October, Witchtober, season of the witch. So I thought we would get into that conversation today. After that, you will find a promo for a course that I'm teaching starting in October, of course. It's called the Via Hecate. It is an immersive 30-day live challenge where I will be going live and teaching classes and leading 3 high rituals over about 30 days. And it comes with a year-long membership. So there's community, there's the chat, you can share your own devotional practices and so on. And then you'll have a whole year to go back and really connect with the content from the 30 days of lives, because it's going to be probably close to 60 hours of recorded classes. I'm really excited about this. I've wanted to do it for years, to have 30 days of Hecate, and it's finally happening. I'm offering it at a really low price of $99. That gives you the whole year. That gives you the whole 30-day live challenge and all of the recordings, plus the great community. This is a course for anyone who is called to the devotional life, to be a devotee of Hecate. And I know that word can be activating. It used to be for me. I reclaimed it. I am a devotee of Hecate. I follow her torches and I reclaim it as sacred, sacred witchcraft. This is my spiritual practice. The blog is celebrating its 8th anniversary. Covina just celebrated its 7th. I think I've got those numbers right. It's early witches, and I decided just to do this like I wanted to do it. Get up in the morning after doing my practice for the day, my quotidia for the day, sit in here with my witch's brews and talk to y'all and introduce this conversation about Hecate as the torchbearer. I love the crooked path I walk, and I am so privileged to be an author, teacher, high priestess of Hecate. This podcast will always be real, ad free, just me, and sometimes Kristen. She's always here doing something. She's hosting Tarot Tuesday right now in Covina. She's with us. Always look to the signs, follow her torches. If the Via Hecate seems right for you, go on, follow the links and join. If you have any questions, give Kristen an email at Kristen, Christen, at covinainstitute.com. Sending you all love, stay in your magic, and hail Hecate. Hello and welcome. Kristen and I are going to be discussing a very iconic and I think widely visible aspect of beloved Hecate today, which is her torches, her twin torches. So we're going to get started by lighting candles that have this sigil for Lampadios on it. This is a newly redesigned one. So if you've got your copy of Entering Hecate's Cave, the sigil in this is a little bit different. Kristen refreshed all the sigils that are in the book, and we use them for the months in Covina. So this is the refresh. So it's going to look a little bit different, and you're welcome to work with this revamped sigil however you wish as well.
So I want to know that like you speaking of twin torches, like twin torches are creation and destruction. Like you have yours this way and I have mine this way.
Yeah, it works either way.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get started.
Oh, I may need to borrow your fire.
Okay, you can borrow my fire. So hail and welcome to Hekate, particularly her aspect as Lampadios, the torchbearer. And we'll get started with our invocation, which is the opening verse from the Lampadios chapter in Entering Hecate's Cave. With each step I take, the unbearable heaviness of my false skin, the weight of my scars, and the load of my burdens is shed, left on the stairs, one by one, piece by piece, stepping downward, dropping what needs to die. In my wake, as the darkness approaches, I am enlightened, seeing the glimmer of her torches, illuminating the journey. Turn your gaze towards Hecate's torches, those guiding lights that lead us through her cave. This is Lampadios, calling us towards her depths so that we can heal. Lampadios, also Lampadiferos or Dodophoros or Periphoros or Phosphoros or Phoebe. Hecate has so many epithets, probably it's the most common kind of category of epithet typology. And if you have my new book, Entering Hecate's Cauldron, you'll find that list of epithets in the back, and there's just so many that have connections to fire. One of our favorites, Hero's Peer, which means the sacred fire. So we're going to be getting into what this is all about. Why Hecate has torches, why she has twin torches. If you can notice the statue of I'll actually show this to give them all an idea. So this is a replica that comes from Greece. So you can see this is Persephone on one side, twin torches for Persephone. And then Demeter is on this side with one torch, but also with the grain. So we're going to be doing a separate recording talking about Hecate, Persephone, and Demeter. Oh, and if you're curious about who's on the third side of this, Hades, who, of course, when we are talking about the torchbearer and all things chthonic of the underworld of the night and so on, and illumination, Lord Hades is not far, but we'll give Demeter a due and leave her facing outward. So we've been talking a lot about the meaning of these torches. I mean, Kristen, this is a conversation you and I have been having for like 4 or 5
Yeah.
years at this point.
Yeah.
Just being fascinated by what those torches symbolize, like to us personally, to other modern witches, and the history behind them. So we're going to start by talking about the meaning of fire and how we personally relate to fire, because I think this is a great place to kind of jump in. Like I said, in this conversation, we're focusing exclusively on Hecate. Then we're going to take a break, do a second conversation where we bring in Demeter and Persephone and kind of widen it to the triple torchbearers. But in this, we're going to really stay focused on Hecate's torches and the meaning and like the personal meaning of that. So something that's been going on for us for several months now, which has changed like my perception of fire and yours for sure, because it was your first summer experiencing this.
Wildfires. Yeah.
And this summer there was one that it was in a residential area, so they were able to get it under control after like a week or so. But we could see the fire from the
This
backyard.
window.
Yeah, from this window.
Right here.
Right. Yep. And we've been having this drought here all year, basically. And so we haven't been able to have an outside fire in our fire pit, basically since I think it was May. May we could do it between like the hours of 7 p.m. and 5 a.m. But there's been restrictions on outdoor fires all year. And then I think it was June where they're like, no outdoor fires. You can't even go in the woods. And it really, like when you look out your window and you can see a wildfire, it changes your perception, your relationship to fire.
It does. It does. Just the sheer power of fire, you know, it's just like a reminder that, like, yes, fire is nourishing and necessary. You know, I think like we live in Canada, you know, and we have a stove like downstairs. We need fire to survive. We need fire to stay warm, you know. If you're talking primitively, like we need fire to cook, like it's so necessary. But to see something like that and just like the sheer power of it is
It's breathtaking.
it,
It's awe-inspiring, and it's terrifying, and that's the destructive aspect of fire, and we were watching, I think, a Bettany Hughes documentary fairly recently, and she was in modern-day Turkey at one of the ancient tepe sites, and she was in the throne room of what I forget which site it is, sorry, I can't remember the name. Do you remember the name?
no, I don't. I think it had something to do with King Midas.
Yeah, I think you're right, like, the historical origins of King Midas.
Mhm.
Right. And so they had discovered the archaeologists had discovered this throne room, and then behind the throne room was like a second room, and that the evidence is that this room was nothing but a huge fire. So that behind the king and the queen, all you could see was fire. And they were discussing how fire has always been a symbol of power.
Yeah, but also responsibility.
Right. So, okay, Hecate's association with fire. We've got a few keywords so far, right? Like destructiveness, nourishment, creation, power, and responsibility. And then there is the enchanting, alluring aspect of fire.
Yeah.
And this is something we really missed this summer.
Mhm.
And we've talked about quite a bit. It's just not being able to go outside and have a fire. Even like a simple fire, like if we were doing a spell and we wanted to burn the spell, we got to do it in the house or in the porch because you can't, nothing outside. So there's that aspect of fire too. It is enchanting. It is primordial, right?
Mhm.
Even a simple candle. But here, like living in the 21st century, I think you mentioned already, like cooking and
Yeah.
electricity. Like that all depends on fire. There is a spark, no matter where we live. We can live in an apartment in New York City, but
Mhm.
still, at some point, there has to be a spark for that electricity to flow.
Yeah.
There is a fire that runs through all electricity.
That primordial spark, and this is the thing though, it's like it's regenerative. Well, and even when you lit your candle and I was like, "Hey, give me some of your fire,"
Hmm.
and you know, do you know I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say about the like, it all comes back to source. Like,
Hmm.
it's all help me.
Well, fire is the original source,
Yeah.
right? Like, like you think of the molten fiery core of the earth, even though the ancients may not have been scientifically aware of that, but we all like intuitively, spiritually know that fire is source,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That, the spark that set off the universe. And so Hecate to have not one but two torches, it's about power. It's about responsibility. It's about the mystery, what enchants us. It's about creation. It's about nourishment. It's about destruction. It's about that primordial origin. And, like her mother was Asteria, the embodiment of the stars, and stars are fire,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, there's just so much to unpack in terms of like how we personally experience like the meaning of Hecate's torches, and also how in the ancient world, when they gave Hecate her torches, or when, Hecate showed up with torches and they are like, yes, that's right. Like what that meant to them. And I think that the big difference, of course, is that living in a world of darkness without streetlights, without electricity, whoever had the torch became the guide for everyone else that didn't have the torch, like through the night.
Yeah.
And I think that's spiritually, certainly in entering Hecate's cave, that's, what I'm trying to convey. Like that, if we follow her torches, like she won't steer us wrong. Like that pale light of hers, it's like a soul light. It's like a beacon, right? A phos anima, the light of the soul. And that she'll take us into shadow work. She'll take us into the dreams. She'll take us into like all of the mysteries. whether it's spells or rituals. Like, that's what her torches mean in a spiritual sense.
Something I remind myself of often is that, like, we carry that igniting spark within us.
Like the Anima Mundi chant,
Yeah,
which you were recently working with, I think, on at sunrise, right?
I
Like that
was.
she who is the very soul of the world within us lives that same spark.
Mhm.
Okay, so Hecate the torchbearer, Hecate, Lampadios, Dadaphros, Phoebe, Phoberos is fearful. Maybe we should bring that into too, like, because there's also that aspect. She who holds the fire and holds the ability to create and destroy. There is that aspect. Well, she's fearsome, Phoberos. She's fearsome. We should respect her because she's so powerful that she has two torches, right? And I think in the war of between the old gods and the new gods, so the Olympians were the new gods, Titans in Hesiod's theogony. Hecate was made a Titan, so part of the old god squad. And then there was this big war um, where the new gods took over, and Hecate sided with the new gods. And
Not excited, but fought. She
she
fought.
fought. Yeah, she fought, and she fought with her torches.
Mhm.
But she didn't fight with like a bow and arrow or knives or a sword. She fought with torches. Like, what does that mean to you to fight with torches?
I don't know, I'm just thinking, like, the most basic you think of, like, basic storytelling, like fairy tales, and whatnot, like, it's always the torchlight that, like, drives the monsters away. It's like, there is that element of, like, all powerful, like, don't fuck around.
It's true.
But the thing that I think about often is, like, why 2 torches? Why 2 torches?
Why not one like Demeter? What, two? She has two. Persephone is often featured, like on the vase that I have, with two
Mhm.
as well.
The first thing that comes to mind when I think about that, I think, like, what if if I were in a situation where someone needed help, let's call it a flashlight, and I were venturing out into the darkness, like I would take a flashlight for me and maybe like a flashlight for the other person.
Mhm.
So I feel like there is an element of like passing the torch on, but then also, there is this sort of walking in balance with the two torches and like the duality of the sacred fire, like one creates, one destroys. Yeah, Wati torches.
I mean, maybe that's something only you and I are super curious about. Okay. So we do have some slides that maybe we'll share just to give you some imagery for connecting with Hecate as the torchbearer. So let's pop those up and we'll get started. So this is the frieze of the war between the old gods and the new gods. And here's Hecate. And you can see one of her torches
Mhm.
remains. And you can see the other gods are using other weapons. But Hecate, in all of her might and glory, she stands there with that torch, almost like the untouchable one, the
Yeah,
ineffable one, right? And this is a famous image that you and I both, we really like the dog
yeah.
in this. But you can see again, she's got her torches. This is an important note that it maps Hecate's like torches are really central, like to her iconography. You can see another one from a votive with her
Mhm.
torches here, that it maps onto her aspect as Enodia. And Enodia is really fascinating. You and I have done lots with Enodia over the years, and we do that. It's a chapter in Entering Hecate's Cave. You can also talk about it in Entering Hecate's Cauldron. And in Covina, it's one of the months that we do during the summer. So Enodia was originally a Thessalian goddess, so from the north of Athens. And then as the Greeks kind of imported Hecate, who was a foreigner, imported Hecate in different ways into their culture, that she became associated with this northern goddess, Enodia or Enodea. Enodia translates to like in the road. So it's a goddess of journeys, and she was really important in Thessaly. But Hecate becomes and takes on this association, which of course, if there's no street lamps, if you are the goddess who is in the road, and the guardian of thresholds and crossroads, you need torches at night because how else will anyone be able to find their way? And also, like with her aspects of like Ampelios and Propylaea to do with gates and thresholds and so on, because again, like at night, the torches would signify, okay, that is where that boundary is. That is where that entrance is or that exit is. and you know that you're getting to where you need to go and safety is coming soon because you see the torch. And I think that's, for me, at least personally, there's something very safe about following Hecate's torches. Like there's a right alignment. Are
Mm.
you following what I'm saying?
I am. I am. I'm trying to think of a modern day like representation. For me, I always think of, like when you're traveling or like you get home or you get to, some of us have like two lights at the end of the driveway.
Well, you need to have a light at the end of the drive.
Yeah,
It
but it's
shows you where
like
to go.
right, and it's like this is safety, like this is home. This is that's very Enodia twin torches to me.
And also, like, just like the porch light, the outside lights that you leave on at night,
Yeah, leave the light on.
right? Leave a light on. Here's another ancient image. This is Hecate Enodia. You can see the dog, you can see the horse, and you can see the torches. I always like this one. I think this is one of the ones you really like too. So this is from Delos, the island of Delos. It's a sacrifice to Hecate. Here's Hecate with her torches. I mean, she's got them pointing down, and this poor person here, she might set them on fire. But there's something about, like, she's, like, a giant,
Yeah.
compared to the people making offerings to her. I've always liked that one. We didn't talk yet about the Hecateons or the Hecatea. So these were little shrines that were put up at thresholds, crossroads, boundaries that featured images such as this, but then there would also be an element of fire. Again, because fire was the way, especially at night, boundaries and so on were indicated. There's another one from Boron, which was an important religious center for Artemis, and different parts of what we would consider the ancient Greek Empire and later Romans worshipped Hecate. So in Thassos, she was worshipped at three different city entrances. And you can see one of the the statues here. So over and over, we see from the ancient archaeology that Hecate's torches were connected to Hecate as Enodia, that the fire was important because of her guardianship over any type of boundary, like
Mhm.
crossroads, thresholds, and the road. This is a triple form Hecate. You can't see the torches here because of the way the statue is facing. So, what do we think about ability to help us transition? Because I think that's what this is really about. A Hecate with her torches helps us make a transition, that she stands in the liminal, like between the inside and the outside of a temple, or between the inside and the outside of a town or a village,
Mhm.
or a home. That the ancients repeatedly, like this is how, like what the evidence shows about how Hecate was understood in different parts of the ancient Mediterranean, which is different than what we might say is her, like, religious center, which is near the town of, Strakonikeia in modern day Turkey, right?
Mhm.
Because there she was very much like a great mother goddess and understood, and also in, like, the sense of how Hesiod understood her. But in the Greek world, they kind of gave her this specific task, which was all to do with, like, the thresholds and
Right.
the in between and the road and anything. I don't know, almost wanna say anything foreign because, well, you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Like, so for the in the ancient Greek world, like in classical Greece, oikos, the home, like, the home was the center of life, and then there was, like, the agora, the marketplace, but the home was like, this is the center of life. It wasn't like today where it's like, many people are being forced to return to work. So it's almost like those big office towers are starting to return to being like, this is the center of society. These are the temples of capitalism where everybody works. And we all have to, like, accommodate our lives to go to these places. But in the ancient Greek world, the emphasis was very much like home was where business was conducted. People would have animals and, like, so it was much more like how, I would say almost like how we live. We work from home. We're very home based. But a lot of people in the modern world aren't so home based. Like the home isn't kind of like the center of life because they have to go other places to earn money. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So there's something about Hecate being the one who helps you get to the place from where you're home, like your home domain, your territory, to the other place. Like, that's her role. She helps you get to the other place. Like,
Right.
whether it's into the mysteries like at Eleusis, like, she helps you into the mysteries of Persephone
Well, she carries the light.
because she carries the light. She lights the way.
Yeah. I'm gonna segue from this. Stay with me.
Okay.
I have a point here, and this comes back to the twin torches thing. Like we were saying, Hecate abides in the liminal, and even in the Hecateons, like there's something about this illumination in all directions. Like there is that illuminating aspect carries through, like regardless of you, even on on a personal level, like whatever path you choose to follow, like Hecate will be there with the
Mhm.
torches. Like,
Like a lighthouse,
yeah.
and I think that maps onto, like, her 3 forms too, so she can see in all 3 directions.
Mhm.
She lights up all 3 directions. So wherever you're going, she can light your path if you, like, turn your attention to it.
Right. But it means that she abides there too. Like there is this, we were talking about this earlier, like Hecate in some aspects translates to comes from afar,
Mm.
right? And so I really like that idea that she abides here but also out there.
Mm. And that she knows the way, because I think you said something about this earlier, like, to the Greeks, she was a foreigner,
Yeah.
and so she must know how to get to the other place because
Right.
she got here,
Right.
and she's a foreigner,
Right. And she
so
has the torches.
and she has the torches. So there's all this symbolism around, she's so wise that she traveled here, to bring us, like, her magic and her mysteries, and also there's this very practical side to Hecate. So there's all of this kind of, like, spiritual, but there's also the very practical, which I think is something. I mean, we're very, like, Hecate of it, the everyday is very much like a center of our life. Hail Hecate Enodia if we're going on a road trip, or Hecate, like Hail Hecate Lampadios when we light the wood stove for the first time, or whatever it is. But we see her like in our everyday life, which is, I think, they would have seen her in their everyday life too.
Yeah.
Um, And so, yeah, there's all this mystical business going on with the torches, but there's also all this very practical. And I think that we need to really go into understanding like that duality, that, yeah, fire is amazing and mystical and helps us. We can do fire scrying. We can soften into the fire and have visions. And Hecate really, I mean, if you soften into the flame and open up, Hecate will speak to you and show you things and so on. And at the same time, there's always going to be that practical side, the everyday side to Hecate. And I mean, right from Hesiod through everything we know through history, Hecate always carried this duality. And I think there's something about the twin torches that is about that duality. Yes, she's like chthonic of the earth, of the underworld, and she can show you through the cave
Mhm.
and through the mysteries. And also, she's Enodia, the goddess of the road that, you know, is present in our everyday life. Like as we are crossing thresholds, as we are going from one place to another, like she is present with us in both of those ways. It's not an either or, right? It's a both and. And I think that's like, and that's how we live, like you and I live. But I think as witches, that's how we live, right? We live in that liminal space where we're in the mystical, we're in the spiritual, the etheric, and also being humans to be like embodied. We are living in the world, and there's that aspect of Hecate, the world, and Hecate of the depths. I think that the torches really symbolize, for me at least. Any final thoughts?
Was just thinking while you were saying that, I was thinking about how, in my perspective, it does help bridge the sacred and the mundane, you can connect while you're cooking your breakfast in the morning, way over the stove, or when you're meditating, softening into a candle, like the fire is the same. Yeah, that's my thought.
So remember, Hecate's fire, her torches are always with us, from when you're making your breakfast in the morning to if you've got a few quiet moments to meditate with your candle, contemplating. the way the world is and wildfires, even if you do live in an apartment in a big city, you don't have like everyday experience with lighting fires and managing fires or our never ending project of firewood management,
Yeah.
which it's, like, so that's like a 365-day a year thing here is working with the firewood to make sure we can burn fires and stay warm in the winter. And so even if that's not your reality, even if what you're working with is like an LED candle, just connect to all of that integrative kind of intersectional crossroads energy that the Hecate's torches symbolize both the practical everyday and also the mystical depths as well. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation. Hail Hekate, Lampadios, Darophoros, Phoebe, the eternal, indomitable torchbearer. Hello and welcome. Kristen and I are going to be sharing a little bit about a new program that we're so excited about. It's really been years in the making, the VIA. This is something I've wanted to do. I don't know, I keep saying years, but for years now to have like an intensive, you'd almost call it like a challenge experience based on the devotional cycles that you and I have been doing for
Yeah.
years, and also that our senior students in the Mistai program have been doing for years. We aren't offering a new class of the Mistai right away. We have the Mistai 2 graduating soon when we're doing this recording. And what we felt called to do was to offer an immersive experience for all those called to it without kind of the intensive training that goes all around the Mistai program. So the basic structure of the Via Hecate is this. It is a one-time payment that gives you a year's access to this space. Within this space in Covina, there is a period which we are calling the live challenge phase, and that is the collective or the course level devotional cycle. So we are going to be doing 30 live events, doing 3 rituals in 30 days. 30 days of Hecate, a different epithet each and every day, live class, or some of our events are shared with the Hecate's Keys program. 2 of our rituals, the beginning and ending ritual, we're sharing with Hecate's Keys. And then near the end, a very special ritual that I haven't led for several years, which is the Animarum Luna Obscura. That is just for the devotees in the Via. So that's how it works. There is a live challenge period that's 30 days over 5 weeks that starts October the 18th. And then we go right into, I think, the next day or the day after we start with the classes that are really getting into the epithets. We'll be doing Hecate's history. We have different themes for every day. Every day is a different epithet. And this, I don't know, it's so exciting to
Yeah, it's
me.
so exciting. Now I think the thing about this is though, like the way I would say approach it is like it's not prescriptive per se. Like we will offer tools and guidelines and collaboration and like we'll, be discussing a different epithet of Hecate every day and we'll like help take you deeper. But it's really like a way for you to explore what devotion looks like for you.
And like I was saying, so it's a one-time payment and you have access for an entire year. So 30 days, so you'll have well over 30 hours of recordings to review. We're going to keep the chat open. You'll be able to, come to even like we set up the VIA about 6 weeks ago, and the community that has arisen really centered in that chat of coming together. It's really, really beautiful. So you get a year, but there is within the year a 30-day period that is like a live challenge. 30 days of Hecate, 1 lunar month, we start a little bit before the Virgo new moon just to make sure everybody gets ready. Not Virgo. So I'm still for we are recording this on the Virgo new moon. So hold on me. But we're gonna do this in advance of the Libra new moon. So we're starting a few days before that. We get started with this ritual of commitment, the Anamara Nissa, go into live classes about the different epithets and so on. We're doing Samhain is included within this. So we're doing ancestor work with spirits. Nesting is all on these 30 days, 30 epithets, 30 aspects of Hekate that we'll be exploring. And of course, Hecate has over 200 epithets from antiquity, and we've divined like a sample of them. We also tried to not duplicate the epithets that are the names of the months in Covina, but in some cases we decided there was reasons to do so. So you have done and are doing 30 you've done the via sigil.
I have
Then
done
you're doing 30 unique sigils as well as part of your personal devotion.
Yes.
Here's the overall one. So we'll be debuting that. What else do we need? I think the thing we need to talk. So we've got botanicals.
Mhm.
We selected poppy and Damiana.
Yep.
There's a lesson. So when you join the VIA, you will see a resources section available right away. You can dive in. It's all of our notes to get ready, how everything is going to work, like all the details from the botanicals, their qualities. Everyone is welcome to choose their own keystone, and everyone is welcome to do their own personal devotional project as well. So do you have yours there? Did you find yours?
No, I didn't actually, but you have yours, don't you?
Mine's over there. You want to get me mine?
Yeah, I see it right now.
Okay, so
You can find mine on Instagram.
and well, they have a recording of it is in the resources section. So Kristen did this amazing calendar. Can you pass me my big book of shadows?
Oh, yeah.
Kristen did this amazing calendar with drawings for every day. And I didn't set out to make a whole book of shadows of what they call junk journaling, which I don't really like that name. It needs a better name.
Sacred scrapbooking.
Sacred scrapbooking of things that we had here. You'll also find the template to make your own bookmark. And
Show us that bookmark. It also has the epithets.
yeah, I'll pass that over to you.
Okay. The little guide.
Yeah. So I started, and if you've been following this on Instagram, you would have seen it like in just the journal I was working with, but now I have it in this beautiful book. It's not completely finished because I want to do some of it during the 30-day live period, but I have the inside done. I know some of y'all have been asking me, well, how did you do this? And how did you do that? A lot of this was intuitive. I mean, Kristen is my witness to this. I would come in here in the morning. I like to do my spiritual practice in the morning. I would come in here in the morning and just kind of go into it intuitively.
You did.
I did have some basic ground rules for my Book of Shadows project of the 30 epithets, and I put that together in a lesson as well. So you can see.
So your ground rules were you needed to use what you had on hand, right?
Couldn't buy anything except glue.
Right.
Only glue could be purchased.
And for me, it was just pens and colored pencils only.
Right. So a little bit of scaffolding. And your personal devotional project can be whatever you want. We did like witchcrafting projects, witch arting. You did witch arting.
Yeah.
I did witchcrafting. But it can be like if you are going to dedicate 5 minutes a day to meditation, connection, whatever it is, or it can be part of a bigger project. You can do the epithet a day method like we did. Weave that into whatever you're doing, and we'll be guiding you throughout all of this. So at first I wasn't sure. I was very intuitive. I had a journal and I just opened up. And then I had made this paper out of egg cartons. And I had been jokingly calling it my curse tablet paper. If you know the history of ancient curse tablets, you'll get the joke. But if not, it's fine. And I did Parthareia, which means at the gate, on one of these pieces of, it looks like an ancient curse tablet to me. And that really, it's funny because it's at the gate and I did it as a trifold and it just unlocked the whole thing for me.
Yeah.
And I think this is an important note. So we have been priestessing others through personal devotional projects for like, I've been doing it like 7, 8 years now. You've been doing it for a few years.
Yeah.
And one thing I know for sure is the more you set an intention for your personal project and then equally be open to how it ebbs and flows. And the discipline it took, I have so many things, we run a coven together. I'm an author. I've got all these things I could be doing. And Kristen, like every day for those 30 days, I was like, nothing else got done until I was done with the epithet for the day.
Yeah.
Nothing. And that in and of itself is a sacred practice, right? If you prioritize yourself. So I'll be sharing these and you'll see these as cover images for the 30 days of Hekate, the live challenge phase, as we I'm going to be putting up a little sharing circle post every day that you can comment on your experiences with that epithet.
And I'll be sharing my drawings as well.
Definitely. This is it. It's personal,
Yeah.
it's us teaching, it's ritual, it's a deep experience, it's an immersive experience of Hecate, one-time payment. Click on the Via Hecate. We should have a little promo banner running across the screen within Covina, and we'll make sure when you're watching this recording that you have a link as well. Anything else you want to add?
I just want to go back to what you said about being open to the ebb and flow. I think that that is really key. And, like, don't get lost in perfectionism. I've been getting a lot of emails. They're like, oh, I feel called to Hecate, but I'm new to this. Like, do you think I'm fit to join? Is this? And yes, the answer is yes. If you feel called to join, you should join and see what comes through. Like
Mhm.
Cindy said, it's going to be open for a year. Just answer that call.
Answer the call. I always say when someone says, "I'm writing to you because I'm not sure if I've been called by Hecate," and my response is, "Well, we're here, so you've
Right.
been called."
Right.
So,
And there are it will take a commitment, but there are no pre-requirements. Like, come as you are. Come as you are. I
yeah,
think a big key aspect of this is like, seeing yourself as sacred. Like devotion to Hecate is devotion to yourself.
that's
Yeah.
so true. Kira was saying that. So it's a great group. We'll be there, of course, leading the experience for everyone, but it's a very supportive community. There are some like really experienced Hecateans. Our torchbearers are there. Our
Mhm.
guides are there.
Mhm.
And then there's also those who are just getting started with Hecate. It's really because there is the 30-day live challenge period, but then you've got the whole year. You're going to have all the materials, all the recordings for that
Mhm.
entire year. And you can work at your own pace. And you'll be able, like, if you say, okay, I can't do a personal devotional project right now, but I'm really inspired, but I know come February, I'm going to have time and I'm going to make this my priority. Well, that's great. You'll have all the materials, plus you'll still have that chat and the sharing circles. So if you want to share it, you can share your work as well.
Great support network.
Fantastic support network. Okay, we've got some people here live, and I'm just wondering if anyone has any questions about starting the VIA that they would like us to answer. I don't know. Can we bring you on camera?
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on camera. So if anyone has any questions, just bring them up to us in the text chat. Okay, so Denise, we've been talking a lot about, so we did our devotional cycle. I think it was the Leo new moon to the
Mhm.
first Virgo new moon. I think that's right. And then our Miss Ty's two students are doing one Virgo new moon to Virgo new moon because it's an unusual year. We're having two Virgo new moons. Um, so what we did is we did like a tiered system where Kristen and I and the torchbearers, which Denise is one, we did ours to kind of like lay the foundation that would eventually on the Libra new moon bring us to everyone in the Via. And you've been talking a lot about just how going into this, you didn't anticipate how transformative it would be. And I think that's a real key. Like even like you might be scrapbooking or you might be doing what Denise did. So why don't you share what you did just to inspire everyone?
Sure. I decided to do mine digitally. Some of the things that I wanted to be able to understand as well as get out of it was I wanted to bring the images I would get into life for myself. I wanted to see them on paper. So I did a lot of AI generated art. And what I began to notice, not only did it help me go deeper with having the visual of that, it also helped me. I began to see myself describing everything in different ways than I had done before. And I started to become more connected with each one of these epithets, even more deeply than I ever thought could be possible, to be honest. And the way they began to work with me, they're still working with me today. I am still going back to my grimoire today that I have, and I might not be going through it sequentially as we have been, but there are days that other ones will call to me. So I really want to stress the additional year is amazing to be able to work with each other and talk more and see how each individual is experiencing it even after the 30 days. And it has opened up so much for myself that it's truly been transforming, honestly, for me.
Definitely. Whatever your personal project looks like, we've had people in the past do a personal yoga challenge, yoga every day, writing poetry to Hekate every day. It can be in service, volunteering every day. Whatever the personal project can take many forms. It is an act of devotion and it's a radical self-acceptance, that you're saying like, I am worth it. I am worth serious devotion to Hecate. Okay, Denise, do you have some questions for us?
Yes, there was one. I'm not really sure what to get for Poppy. Should it be seeds, flowers, artificial flowers, etc.?
Do you want to comment on that?
Yeah. So, I think any way that you connect, if you want to get fresh poppies, if poppy seeds, we'll be using poppy seeds, we'll be crafting these little poppy flowers and we'll fill these with poppy seeds. So definitely seeds, yeah, images, just really whatever works for you.
Fresh poppies can be difficult to acquire.
Mhm.
We can't get them to grow here, though our neighbor down the road can, and it
Mhm.
drives me nuts that she can. But anyway, so yes, the poppy
Seeds.
seeds are fine.
Yeah.
It's the essence of poppy, and
Yeah.
you're going we have spirit cards
Yeah.
that you can use to connect with. And something that our students have done over the years is they print off those spirit cards. We design them very simply, and then you can add color to them. You can add
Mhm.
them to your digital book of shadows. You can do all kinds of things with them, and that's going to help you evoke um, the essence of poppy. Okay,
Mhm.
let's dive into a little bit about the botanicals.
Um,
Okay, so like you said, you're going to be showing them how to make these great paper
yeah.
poppies, and the stem, which is a straw, is filled with poppy seeds. So you're getting some of that actual essence of poppy, and then myrrh. Do you have some notes on myrrh for us? Top quality.
Top quality. We buy it in big chunks.
Yep.
You can usually find it as a powder. If you do have trouble finding it, oftentimes you can find it blended with frankincense, which is fine as a substitution. If that's all that you can get, that's perfectly okay.
Or an oil. You can
Or
get
an
it as an
oil, you
oil
can
as
get it as an
well.
essential oil.
So
Yeah.
sometimes the tears, you'll see those like small, and this is a great incense. It also works really well as a binder. So if you want to blend Damiana and poppy seeds and myrrh and crush them in your mortar and pestle, or be a modern witch like us and use your electric grinder, your coffee grinder for this, it makes a beautiful, beautiful incense for burning. Any other questions about the plants, Denise, that we should talk about why we're here with
Yes.
them?
Do I have to have all plants, candles, etc. for the Via?
Absolutely not. You don't have to have anything and you
Mhm.
don't have to do anything, right? Like this is about This is us. We're there. We'll be there, for the 30 days, leading the rituals and the classes. Denise will be there helping us. The torchbearers will be there. We'll be there doing this. And what you do with the materials that's your experience. We offer this structure, and it's like we build the temple and light the torches, and then we welcome you in, and it's up to you from there.
I do wanna add a note to, like, if when you do buy the botanicals, like, make sure, especially the Damiana, you wanna make sure, like, it's good quality, like, make sure it's organic. Mentioned in the chat, we do, like, we're a fan of You Herb It.
Yeah, which is in Greece, but they ship, well, I don't know with the US
Yeah.
tariffs. Um, but I know, what is it? Mountain Rose in the United States is usually good.
Mountain Rose is
Yeah,
good. Richter's is,
in Canada.
but it's a cross-border company, right?
Yeah.
So they ship to the US as well.
Denise, do you have a reco for getting the myrrh and the damiana?
The same as that you just said.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the botanicals?
No more on the botanicals. I have a question here about time. What time will most of the lives be?
Okay, well, I think I've got the schedule in here, I'm sure. Here we go. Here's our schedule. So you will notice if it is a class just for the Via Hecate students, it starts at 3 p.m. Eastern, and you can use Mighty Networks should update it to your local time zone based on the location you entered when you joined Covina. And you'll always see in the event title the time in Eastern, just in case there is a little bit of a glitch. So those all start at 3 p.m. And then we have what we call Witches Hour and Moon Day classes that we share with Hecate's Keys. They start at 10 p.m. And then our
10 AM.
10 a.m. Not nothing. I do nothing at 10 p.m. Nothing. Nothing.
Except go to bed.
Except go to bed. Um, and then we have 10 a.m. and then our rituals and salons are going to be coming in at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's the way you can tell if something's at 10 a.m., then that is just a Via Hecate class. And then we have the Moon Days and the Witches Hour. I guess we're doing a couple of Tarot Tuesdays as well in there
Yeah.
that we're doing as live events. So those are all going to come in at the 10 a.m. start. Our classes at the 3 p.m. Eastern start. And then you'll see rituals starting at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, that's really exciting. So the 10 AM and the 8 PM will be a merger with Hecate's Keys, and then the 3 PMs are
Just us.
via Hecate only.
Just via. So we're excited to be doing all of this with all of you. It feels really special. And so come on in. If you're watching this and you're thinking, well, October 18th has already come and gone. I'm late to the party, so to speak. You can join anytime.
Yeah.
Really, within that year, you could, like you start your year when you join. And our plan is to hopefully do this again next year, and to have this as a special offering. Yeah, like I said, it's
Mhm.
30 days of Hecate,
Mhm.
and then you have access to the space for a year
Yeah.
to do with what you will.
And if you have any questions or concerns, you can email me at kristen@covinainstitute.com.
The if you Once you join, just head on over to that via chat, and we'll be happy to talk to you,
Mhm.
answer any questions. It's a really great and supportive community. Lots of resources, the spirit cards, the sigils, and and come as you are and be open. This is, what did I say in the chat the other day? Let's not invoke the spirit of perfectionism. This is about coming together
Yeah.
and expressing our devotion, in a really beautiful community of devotees. We will learn and grow together. Thanks so much,
Great.
everyone. You want to give them your email one more time?
Oh, that's Kristen, CHRISTEN, @covinainstitute.com.
All right, we'll see you on the via.